Hey guys, it's Drew here from Gamer Tactics.
And Anthony?
We're here to talk to you about the new Xbox One, which I think we all anticipated to be called Xbox 720 or just Xbox. There was a lot of different rumors of the name, but they did announce it, and it's going to be called Xbox One.
I like the idea of the Durango, to be honest.
Yeah, Xbox One's not the most original, but it will work.
Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the specs here. The CPU itself is going to be running on 8 cores, most likely going to be AMD due to the high prices of the Intel processors, which will hopefully keep the price low. 8 gigabytes of high-speed DDR3 RAM, about 5 billion transistors, and up to 2 gigabytes of data per second. Silent fans, connect voice control activations, and the ability to watch TV channels simply by speaking.
I'm going to actually cut in here really fast about the Connect voice because I know a little more about this. When it comes to the voice activation, essentially how it's going to work is if you're watching live TV and you want to switch channels, you just say, go to HBO or whatever. So it's pretty interesting. I know we were promised this essentially in the Apple TV, which they never came out with that, but it looks like TVs may start having this. But it's also in case someone calls you on Skype while you're playing a video game or whatever, you'll be able to just say answer call or ignore call and it'll work. And the voice, it gets recognized to your voice, so it's not anyone who can just talk for you on your account.
So back towards the specs, they didn't really say anything about the GPU, or the graphics processing unit for those of you who aren't as versed in geek as I am. They didn't say anything about it, but what I'm going to assume, due to the graphic capability that they display with, the previews and such, I'm looking at something somewhere around on par to a Titan, a GeForce Titan, which is one of the best you can get, one of the higher ones. I'm not sure which number it is now. It's like probably 6500 or something like that, but I would assume that it's going to be working to 2 to 3 gigabytes of its own DDR5 high-speed gaming RAM, because it's going to have to be able to do everything that says antioscopic filtering, ambient occlusion, whatever you want to call it. It's different pronunciations for everything. So looking at this logically, I would assume that this one is going to be around $400 to $500. They did not give a price tag, which is something to be very, very worried about, because we do not know exactly when they are going to be telling us this. But with all the stuff that they have included, all the way up to Blu-ray.
Honestly, I think it's probably more like 600 or 700 to be a more accurate
Yeah,
number.
but this was, being hopeful.
Yeah.
But not even mentioning the fact that their new Kinect sensor has, I believe it's like also 2 gigabytes of 2 gigabytes per second processing speed and joint memory and stuff like that. And it's like crazy the stuff
It's
that they were showing.
essentially just the old Connect, but they added it so it's more smooth and it recognizes more of the slider movements, which could be good or it could be bad. It could make it more difficult for you to do stuff.
You're actually gonna have to get off the couch and do something, rather than I'm gonna sit on the couch, play a Kinect game, make it look like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Another interesting thing is about Xbox Live, something we all love. They mentioned how it started off with 500 servers, went up to 3,000, 15,000. With the release of Xbox One, there's going to be 300,000 Xbox One Live servers built in with cloud so that you can access your saves from pretty much anywhere in the world. But that's exciting because with 300,000 servers, when you played Call of Duty or Halo, there was always a little bit of lag on Xbox compared to some other systems, PC or PS4. With 300,000 online servers, I think it will be the highest amount of servers for any system like that, any form of live stuff. So in that case, there shouldn't be hardly any lag. But this could increase the price of Xbox Live.
I hope it doesn't increase the price of Xbox Live, because it's just that's already bad enough. Like, on the side of that, I wonder what they're gonna do with all this new stuff, because as they said when they did specifications and the voice recognition, Like if you want to tell your AI on your team to do something, it'll do something like, take cover or shoot here or go do this. It's supposed to be able to go do that.
Yeah, they've done this before in the past with the little D-pad with other games, but it didn't really work very well. You would tell your teammates to do something, and then they were really slow. So it will be interesting to see how this works. But for if you are a football or baseball or whatever, if you're a fan of watching sports, you will be very excited. They've integrated some really amazing things with fantasy sports. You can be watching your game on your console and have like scores on the side because of multitasking, which is very useful. It seems like if you want to be watching the game and talking about something else, if you want to be watching the game and looking up stuff about the game, or if you're playing a game and you want to see scores, I believe they'll actually notify you, which seems really nice for if you're, have friends over and you want to play Halo, but you got a game going on at the same night. You could literally possibly do both. They didn't talk too much about multitasking with the game. They showed a little bit, but it was more with watching TV that they showed the multitasking system. So I'll be interesting how that works out. And then there's personal achievements, which I don't fully understand. I'll have Anthony briefly talk about that.
So what I gathered from the personal achievements is when you do something, it's your personal achievement. It's not based on what you've done in the game, like what they want you to do in the game. It's like, how they have the achievements now, like, oh, I kicked 50 chickens to death on Fable 3, which is actually really fun and possible because if you kick it enough, it explodes. But it's your achievements. Say, oh, I've reached this much gold on my account, or I've done all this on my account, or I've done things that nobody else has done on my account. It keeps track of that. It's your own personal achievements, which makes gaming more in-depth, more personal. And I like this idea, and I don't know how well they're actually going to be able to do that because the idea of it, how is it tracking what you're doing? How is it fully tracking every single thing you do? I mean, I know it's got your save date and everything else, but like every step, every movement, every hill you climb, every rock you jump over, is it going to give you an achievement every time you jump over a new rock? I mean,
I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's because they did talk about it. I think it's more based on like stuff you've done in the game versus what the average people do. Because I talked about it where you're going to be able to see stats and stuff from your friends as well a little more. But one thing we did want to talk about that was new is, let me try finding it. We have a list of stuff we need to talk about.
well, I know one thing for sure. Call of Duty is finally getting a new game engine. Physics, graphics, everything. It's based off their new gen gaming abilities, and it is just amazing looking. I like the whole idea behind it, and I'm going to let Drew say what he wants to talk about real fast.
Well, about that, they actually announced the new Call of Duty game and the Halo TV series. When it comes to the Call of Duty game, I was excited when I heard the new game engine because they haven't really had a new game engine for a while. It's interesting because the storyline seems very basic. It seems like one that's been done before, but it's not to say it's bad. It's just, it seems like a lot of those other games. They didn't talk much about the Halo TV series, but that looks exciting. They did mention that there's going to be 15 games that are exclusive for Xbox One within the first year, 8 of which are going to be brand new franchises, stuff we've never seen.
Well, see, I must have missed that because I did not hear that. That sounds amazing. But
Yes, but it also means that you're going to have to buy it if you want to play these 15 new games. And I'm trying to figure out which 7 are already exclusive. I can already assume Halo, that's exclusive to Xbox, but 8 new franchises, if these are really good games, this could bring a whole new variety to Xbox. Because PlayStation 4 doesn't have a ton of exclusive only for PlayStation 4. They have some, but I believe there are more for Xbox, especially now with 15 new being added.
so
Oh, also, something I really want to talk about really fast while we're on this topic is a lot of people film their game footage, and finally they've added a built-in DVR.
Built-in DVR. That's an interesting one. But so let's go back to the Ghost Call of Duty. I'm having the biggest nerd boner over this. This is amazing looking. I mean, you're looking at this and you see all these graphics and you're like, this can't be possible on a console. This looks so real, which is exactly why I said it's probably going to have something at least the equivalent to the Titan in it, because these graphics are just real. I thought some of these CGI render, or like the cutscenes that they have that were actual gameplay cutscenes, where they don't do CGI, they just bring it in as gameplay, and then they fold it right back into gameplay as they showed parts of the trailer. It looked so real. I thought I was watching like a live action show, and I'm just dumbfounded how far this is coming, and the fact that this is on a console for a gaming system now rather than a PC.
Yeah, well, I mean, with technology being built so much, consoles have always kind of been in the dark when it comes to graphics compared to PC. And PS4 and this Xbox One were both designed literally in hopes to compete with PC for graphics. So I think that's why I wasn't super surprised when I saw that, because that's really what they were trying to do. One thing that I'm hoping and might be possible is the idea of streaming your gameplay directly from your Xbox.
Well, one thing I actually noticed relatively recently on a completely different note was there is a Twitch app for Xboxes. This is relatively close to the release date of all this information. I wonder if maybe it's possible that there's going to be a Twitch app for the Xbox One, which allows you to stream, since they already have the DVR function. You can just stream your gameplay directly, because what I know what the PS4 is supposed to have, people were saying that it's supposed to have, is like this gameplay where someone else could jump in and play it for you, and it's technically like a live stream because other people can watch it, but they can also jump in and play for you if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like Halo had a DVR, yeah, sorry, already kind of like installed in the game, and so it's not super new, but it is new for the Xbox.
Well, what it comes as part is like the software for a whole new hardware system. That is something relatively new because, they've been coming out on individual games and it's just different to a lot of people. So, there's not really much more to talk about. Like, it was a very short, very sweet live. They got to it, although they really didn't give us as much information as we had hoped about the Xbox. They gave us basic specs, server size. That's about it.
They were very vague. They used a lot of fancy words, and they said a lot of stuff that were just fancy, trying to make it sound really, really clear and futuristic, I guess you could say.
Which is a good thing, because, you want to appeal to the future, but you don't want to forget that we're living in the present. You don't want to try and go too much forward into the future, that you're being too ambitious to what we currently have, because they want to do all this stuff, and they say they want to do all this stuff, and they try to do it, and it doesn't actually work out fully, but it's too late for them to scrap it. Like, I guess you could say the Wii originally was. Don't make that mistake for them. Like, are they being too ambitious with some of the stuff that they're bringing out is the question.
Well, that's the thing, was they also did show some of the stuff on the Xbox, so some of it they've already seen and have already designed.
So, on that, we want to ask you a few questions. What do you hope to see as your very new, very original ideas, possibly, or exclusive to the Xbox One? And also, what is your opinion on what this graphics card is going to be? And also, what do you feel this price tag will be?
Also, what are you most excited for? The new sports games, the new Halo series, or are you just excited for the new Call of Duty game, which for all we know could be amazing, or could just be like all the other Call of Duty games?
Now that's a low blow. But anyway, we want to thank you guys for listening to us, and we will see you again next time.